Yo guys, what is up? Max in our video, and today we're talking about Synced. Now, I put out a video about 8 months ago on this game. Back then, it was a beta, and the full game just launched, just kind of out of nowhere. I feel like no one really knows that this game came out. It is currently on PC only with plans to come to Xbox. And I played about 15 hours of the beta, and I've now put in like 7 hours into the full launch. So this is our like initial early impressions, but I just want to talk to you guys about what this game is, if it might interest you and what my opinions are on it so far. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. So Synced kind of hovers between two worlds. There's a roguelite looter shooter-esque mode, and then there's a PvP mode, and those two worlds are very different from each other. Versus, for example, something like Destiny, where you bring your loadout from PvE into your PvP loadout and back and forth. This game has very different loadouts and things like that, so there's no real intermixing between PvE and PvP. If you want to go for the PvP experience, it's more of a battle royale meets Gambit style. Imagine if you were playing Destiny 2's Gambit mode, but everyone was on the same world at the same time and you could kill each other rather than doing the objectives. The PvE mode is more of a roguelite experience where you have meta progression in your guns and your gear, and then you've also got progression in the different runs. So this is what your loadout looks like. Once again, note that I'm only like 7 hours into the full game launch, but you have your runner. This is your character that you're going to pick. All of them come with a activatable skill. Those skills can be like a chain bomb that chain strikes between multiple enemies, dealing shock damage. You've got the character that I'm playing that does a smoke bomb. The characters are all right. There's not a lot to them. They come with like 2 passives and then 1 perk. And unlike other roguelikes, I haven't seen anything at all that actually modifies the perk that they get. So for example, in a roguelike like Gunfire Reborn, which I've been playing a lot, you can play a character that fires a smoke bomb, kind of like this character does, but you can get multiples of the smoke bombs. You can make the smoke bomb hit for more damage. You can make the smoke bomb spread to bigger AoEs. And the perks in this game are nothing like that. So I'll be talking about that, but so far the like actual loadout perks that you get in the runs have been a bit of a letdown, which I was hoping they were going to improve from the game. They've got 6 characters here, and 3 of them throw a grenade. One's a fire grenade, one's a smoke grenade, one's a shock grenade. Out of the 6 characters, to have 3 that does basically the same thing is a little bit of a letdown, but they do have different perks. Speaking of perks, you also have a PvE loadout. Now, your loadout consists of 4 perks that you can pick up and augment on top of. So, for example, I've got the Armor Ricochet perk. The first 3 shots after reloading have a chance to ricochet between nanos, breaking their armor with a 30% trigger rate. Now, these perks also have an associated power level to them. And the power level seems to just be like an arbitrary number that helps you in runs. But, for example, this perk, deal additional gun damage with firearms, is a 219 power perk, and it's going to give me 5% increased gun damage. However, this is a 313, it's 100 power higher, and it does the exact same amount of things. So you're just looking for the perk. The power level, I think, helps you maybe take less damage in higher level missions, but it doesn't actually change the perk to get higher level things. Maybe this is to prevent power creep, but that's kind of how the perk systems works. And you've got 3 different perk slots, just to give you an idea. This gives me ricochet rounds. This gives me explosive ricochets. Kill shots can ricochet between nanos, trigger explosions at a 30% rate. I've got the Headhunter perk, deal additional weak point damage each time your skill is used. So this, every time I throw my grenade, I'm going to be stacking up 10% increased weak point damage for the run. And then I've got Skill Thrill, deal additional damage with your primary weapon after using your skill. I've got 30% more gun damage after I use my skill for 10 seconds. And then on top of these perks, you can kind of craft on top of them. It's completely random, the rarity and the type of perk that you get. And then I think that's just kind of it. So for example, I've got this Headhunter, I crafted on it, and it gave me 2 companion perks, which I obviously don't care about because I'm trying to go for like a full gun build. On top of that, you get a companion to fight alongside you. Now, these companions are relatively interesting. They're pretty new for this kind of game or genre. So you get to summon a different companion, and you do this by killing one of the enemies in the game, and then you can basically turn them to your side. Each of these companions have a active ability, and as you go through the run, you can add more and more active abilities. You can add like a stun ability to them, a berserk ability, things that will increase their damage but reduce their tankiness, things like that. And they also come with base perks. Like, for example, The Crusher's base perk that is active for me gives me additional movement and melee attack speed, versus if I go for something like the Suppressor, now I ADS faster and my crosshair spread is lowered, just passively having this thing as my thing. And then it's also got its like active abilities like lock on, attack targets with long range shock blast projectiles. So that is kind of how your loadout works. And then you would get to our weapons. Now we get to talk about weapons. Now, the weapon system is a bit like Call of Duty, where you get a weapon, and then as you play with that weapon, you unlock attachments and perks for it. So I've been using this fire assault rifle. I've now gotten it to a level, I think, like 3 or 4. So I've unlocked a suppressor. I've unlocked a red dot. There's different grips. There's different magazines. There's different stocks. And all of these things I get to add to the weapon to make it better, to give it better handling, better range, better damage. And you only get that by actually using it. It's only level 2. I've done quite a bit of missions with this thing, so the leveling is definitely slow. On top of that, you've got an augment tree for each weapon. This is basically the weapon skill tree. However, the skill tree is very linear. So there's an outside and an inside circle. And as I augment this, it's just going to be increasing the passive damage. So as you can see, I'm going to get range damage, runner affliction damage, and runner fire damage. And then as I go along this tree and go all the way, I'm going to end up with 31% more range damage. On the inner circle here, I'm going to be getting a much bigger bonus where I'm going to be getting, at max of this, I changed this from a 3-round burst gun to a 6-round burst, 33% chance of fire affliction. I get 100% range damage and 40% affliction damage. So the guns actually have some neat progression. In terms of like, if you play with them and use them, you can actually like really master one weapon and make it deal so much more damage. Like, this is going to be getting a ton more damage the more I play with it and the more I like level it up and invest resources into this weapon. Now, there's one really big red flag that I want to bring up about that weapon system. So this is the Firewalker gun. It has the ability that it fires bursts that may deal fire damage. Well, how did I get this weapon? Because I started with the Future gun. The way that I got that special purple weapon that I can use is through this kind of gacha system where you've got draws and you can pull and it costs money. The game gives you a 1 draw free, and it's probably going to give you something nice for that. And then you can get these crazy weapons that are clearly so much more powerful through doing these like gacha draws. So you can spend money on that and like get legitimately crazy weapons. Now it does seem like you can earn these weapons through just playing. So these are the assault rifles, and as you can see, like, I haven't actually paid any money to get this thing, but I've got 2 out of the 10 parts. And I found that I was getting some of the parts through boss drops. So killing enemies in this game, I don't know this for sure, but it seems like you can grind these weapons out and get the cool weapons that you want just by playing the game. So you can pay to progress faster, similar to how like Warframe is, or you can just straight up grind for them if you'd like. Now it seems like you can bring these weapons into PvP if you want. However, as you say at the top, it says normalized for fair play, meaning that these special weapons, like I've earned the firing squad, the deadly tortoise, and the pocket rocket through just playing. The only purple weapon that I have is like technically a paid thing, but the wheel that was going to give this thing like 40% more fire damage, 100% range damage, all of those things, all those like grindy perks, you cannot actually activate for PvP. So the guns, the special guns, they'll still bring in their like attributes, but they won't bring in the like PvE progression, if that makes sense. So you're not really like getting much of an advantage because all of the guns for PvP are normalized. Now to talk about the PvP and the competitive side, it plays a bit like Gambit in an open world where it's a battle royale, but it's battle royale objective focused. So the team that wins is the team that has the most points, and you can do objectives and choose to avoid fighting other players to just rack up points. However, when you kill other players, you steal some of their points and you remove one of their revives. You only have, I think it's 2 revives in PvP total, so you have 3 lives, your first life, and then 2 revives after that. And if you remove someone from the game entirely, they cannot come back in. Their teammates cannot revive them. So what usually happens is everyone starts out doing some PvE objectives, getting their gear, getting their weapons, and then everyone kind of meets in the middle, and then it turns into a big showdown, wiping out other enemies, using your like robots to fight alongside you. And the PvP is fun. It's quick kills, it's competitive, and winning feels pretty good. So I've actually enjoyed the PvP more than I thought I would. In addition to that, in terms of being in the competitive nature, there are leaderboards that you can see for not only PvP, but PvE. In terms of your rank and where you stand, like as you can see, there's like a solo PvP leaderboard with this guy having like a 5.7 kill death ratio that's displayed for everyone to see. Not only that, but in the PvE missions, it always displays your damage that you deal, your boss damage, and all those things. So if you want to compete with your friends for who has the best build, the best weapons, you can see that. And so there's leaderboards not only for PvP, but there's also like some leaderboards for PvE. So if you want to get competitive with this game, you definitely could. Guys, that is going to do it for the breakdown part. I do want to end the video on my like thoughts on the game now that I've put in like about 25 hours total between the betas and the full launch. Once again, these are initial impressions, but I don't think that this game is leaving a great impression on me. I'm going to be honest. I would rate it, if I had to rate it right now, maybe a 5.5 or a 6 out of 10. The game does feel like it's built to extract money from you a bit, which I'm obviously not a fan of. The rogue-like mechanics are very shallow and just not super interesting to me. The characters and their abilities just are also pretty shallow. The gunplay's all right. I think the real fun part of this game, at least for me so far, has been the fact that it is a challenging game and that you do actually need to play well in the harder difficulties, and that the PvP is also pretty competitive and fun. As a free-to-play game, as a launch title, it's solid. But it's just not doing it really for me as much as I was hoping it would. I'm still very hopeful for the first Descendant later this month. And yeah, guys, that is kind of going to do it for our little review breakdown of Synced. Just wanted to talk about this game because it came out and I haven't really seen anyone talking about it at all. I will catch y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.